What's going on, guys? It's been a while since we've traveled over to the house of Bentley, and you guys know, as far as car companies, this is the best fragrance house out there. To me, their bag is deep, and their versatility is nothing short of amazing, especially with the price point being that most of their fragrances sit around the $25 to $30 price point. These punch well above their price, and a lot of them can compete with just about any designer level fragrances out there. You heard me say it. Put on your seatbelts. We're going for yet another ride.
Okay, dinner for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let the sin into the room. You were on time, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish it.
All right. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. On this channel, we talk about my fragrance journey. I'm just a random dude walking around, loving fragrances, trying fragrances, buying fragrances, and I'm doing it every single day of the week pretty much. And you can see that because I drop episodes every single day. Everything from clones, dupes, inspireds, designers, niche fragrances. We cover everything. We leave no stone unturned so that you guys can be educated. You know, again, I don't really consider myself a fragrance reviewer, though I do review fragrances. I am a, documentarianism, disestablishmentarian. No, I'm documenting my process and I'm giving you guys a view into it. This is stuff I am already doing myself, and I'm just putting a camera on myself and kind of just taking notes along the way. And if I feel like there's something that could benefit you guys, I'm going to do it. And that's why there's a lot of reviews on this channel, because I'm like, if I already bought it, why should you buy it unless I'm recommending it? And if I'm not recommending it, then you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't get it. Maybe. You know, it's all about information. We're putting the information out in the world to help you make better decisions and to find the value where you see fit. This is Bentley's Momentum Unlimited. Okay? Now, Bentley has a ton of incredible fragrances. They're not the best in performance a lot of the time because they deal in the realm of freshy with charm, upscale freshy, semi-formal. They deal with kind of, how can I describe this? Citric on woods fragrances, masculine fragrances, somewhat seductive fragrances, but mostly classy, modern gentleman fragrances is how I would categorize a lot of what they do. But their bag is so deep. There's so much versatility and good amounts of density and layering to their fragrances where it feels like entry-level niche. And in the gentleman category, they pretty much can give any designer fragrance a run for its money. And I really wonder who the perfumer is, whether they mix it up with this line or if they just have kind of a couple people running the show. What I also love about Bentley fragrances is you can get most of them for like $25, like $20 to $35 range, depending on the popularity of the fragrance. And man, we've gone through almost the entire line thus far. And man, I can only think of one fragrance that I wouldn't buy, and that's Silver Lake. And some people absolutely love Silver Lake, but I think that's a DNA we can all agree has plenty of better fragrances at the same price point. And I'm very technically harsh with metallic fragrances. I think a lot of them cop out and do kind of citrus metallic. They go cheap on the metallic or cheap on the citrus, and they become funky body odor scents in high heat. And, you know, it just is what it is. This is a very woody fragrance. It's definitely a lot more classic and less modern than some of the other fragrances, but it does have a modernness to it. It just, I think, kind of has some old school elements in that it's dealing with a DNA structure that's very common, like woody aromatics and tiny touch of citrus. It borderlines kind of like a slightly modern flair to a old school fougere slash metallic slash citrus kind of fragrance. But off top, I just get a very fresh aromatic woodsiness, a little touch of citrus in the background. This is just a typical like hybrid fougere metallic citric fragrance that's very, very, very aromatic. This has some of the least amount of depth as some of the other fragrances, but when you talk about just like a utility, gentlemanly, ageless fragrance, I would say ageless in a sense of like 20 and up. You know, this can go work fragrance, upscale casual. That's where I think this kind of sits, guys. Work and upscale casual exclusively. Let's switch windows here. On the top, we have green apple, grapefruit, and cardamom. Heart, we have vetiver, cedar, and sandalwood. Base notes, leather, and musk. Now, what I can say is that the leather is very minimal, 5 or 10% on this. The musk is about 10% as well. This is mostly, and I mean mostly by about like 80%, a vetiver, cedar, green apple fragrance. The grapefruit aspect of it is very faint, and I think over time on the dry down becomes more distinctly appley, but on the test strip you get more grapefruit. But when that wood really settles into skin and you absorb the fragrance, it is green apple, vetiver, cedar, and some musk. It has a very metallic feel. Mostly, it's like woody but fresh. I don't know if it's the ambroxan or what, kind of just giving it a little bit more of a metallic vibe, but this is in the realm of things like Silver Mountain. Again, not the same fragrance, just vibe wise. It's in the realm of like Mahir Legacy Silver, Bleu de Chanel, Club de Nuit Iconic. What was that other fragrance I was thinking of? You know, a Mont Blanc Starwalker. What are some other metallics? It totally knocks out Azzaro's metallic fragrances. There was another metallic I was looking for though. Gosh, Silver Lake's another one. Yeah, I think I've named enough fragrances. Metal Rain, Banana Republic. But this is one of the more fresher, natural feeling. Again, the DNA is just a little bit simple for me. But you know, again, to me, it's better than like a Nautica Voyage, if that helps you guys. To me, again, I think Versace Hawass, Nautica Voyage, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, all those are basically the same fragrance. Each one just has a slightly different emphasis on a particular note. But this is certainly, I feel, just a tiny notch above those. But it's really a preference battle because, again, this to me sits perfectly upscale casual and work specifically. So this is like those two occasions only. 20 and up, I think you need 6 to 10 sprays on something like this, and you're not going to get that much performance. You'd be lucky to get 6 hours of performance. 4 to 6, I think, is what it's going to be. But just get in the habit with a fragrance like this. Anytime you're dealing with metallics or aquatics and stuff like that, unless you're dealing with like a niche level fragrance, guys, or something that's just so synthetically metallic, like an Iconic or something like that, or a Sillage, you just get in the habit of telling yourself, I'm putting 10 sprays on. And for those of you guys who are intimidated by the idea of, let's go out here. I didn't realize I was still on the main screen. For those of you guys who are intimidated by, heavy spraying, because obviously if you've never sprayed more than 4 to 6 times before, it can be very intimidating because when you hit yourself with 10 sprays, right, which isn't that much for a lot of people, when you start hitting all over here, front, back, pulse points, neck, ears, whatever, that initial opening is jarring. And so it's important that you get in the habit of, if you're going 10 sprays, in my opinion, I don't do it in a room. Again, I'm not trying to coat my room with a ton of fragrances. Even if I vacuum and I do all that, I don't like to do that. So typically for me, when I'm going to heavy spray, I go out on my porch, or I go in the front or back porch or whatever, and I apply there because it's a nice tight corridor. I don't have to worry about whatever. And I typically spray pretty close. I don't put the fragrance too far away from me. I put it at about, you know, this distance from my body. And I make sure I make my sprays count. There's very little seepage going on, but being outside allows me to not experience that initial blast of jarring aroma. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I think if you're spraying north of like 8 to 10 sprays, that's how you should do it. And you want to be outside because that lets the fragrance sit. Yeah, you might not be absorbing most of the fragrance. I even think that's a myth. But just being outside allows you to handle applying it and let that thing sit down on your body while not making yourself pass out. You know what I'm saying? And then after the dry down, 10 sprays is very manageable because after like the first 15 minutes, you know, you're it doesn't even feel, again, it doesn't smell like what you had in the opening. And then 30 minutes in, that thing is just sitting and hugging you close. Even if it's a loud fragrance, you guys can all attest to this. The first 20 seconds of a spray session on yourself is nothing like what you're going to get on the dry down. And so definitely, if you haven't done it before, you're going to run into fragrances where you have to just overspray. And when you do, I don't think the best thing to do is for me, like for instance, right now, to just sit right here and hit myself with 10 sprays. Especially when you're dealing with synthetics and all that stuff, like getting fragrance all up in your nasal passages and stuff like that is just not a smart thing to do from a health standpoint. But anyways, guys, again, this is a solid fragrance. Again, it's not the moon and the stars. But again, if you're somebody who struggles, you don't have a Bleu de Chanel, you don't have like a multi-purpose Nautica Blue. I'm saying in the spectrum of like a Nautica Blue all the way to a Bleu de Chanel in the designer category, if you don't have a nice, 2 or 3 utility fragrances, blind grab, go. This is an amazing upscale casual and work fragrance that you can probably get for like 20, maybe $25 on fragrancebuy.ca and many other places. And you get 100 ml, beautiful bottle presentation. And again, they've done it again. Out of all of the ones that I've experienced, this one feels probably the more classic, but it still has such a robust freshness that it doesn't feel old school as a fragrance. It just feels old, it's a more reminiscent DNA that you'll probably be like, oh, this smells like this. This smells like this. Oh, this smells like something I've had before. But I think it does have an edge with a little bit more of the freshness and dimension to it. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. We drop episodes every single day if you're new to the channel. I would love it if I could earn your sub. We do a lot of great high-value content here every single day of the week. And I want to know, have you guys tried Bentley Momentum Unlimited? There's a lot of different variations of this fragrance. In fact, let me look them up real quick for you. Let's see, Bentley Unlimited, or no, let's do Bentley Momentum. So they have Bentley Momentum Intense, Bentley Momentum Unlimited, Bentley Momentum Unbreakable Eau de Parfum, and Bentley Momentum. So there's 4 different variations of this fragrance. They all look the same with a different type of bottle cover. But so there's a lot of them. And I think people mainly pick them based off of performance because they all smell good. Anyways, hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. Until next time, this was Bentley Momentum Unlimited. And it was, I give it a 7.